Ladies and gentlemen, it's the throwback Curtis Robertson here with another episode of the Curtis Robertson Show. Sorry we missed you last week. We'll tell you why that happened here in a little bit. I'm happy that you're joining us on this Thursday afternoon. I'm happy to have heard from some of you like, hey, where's my show last week? Somebody's out there listening. That's good. We're gonna we're gonna get into it here. We're gonna we're gonna get into it today. Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna talk about today? Let's um let's figure it out. Let's figure out what we're gonna talk about today. Well, one of the things we want to talk about today is some of this jewelry that I got here. Take a look at this chain. I can't get too many fine details on it right now. Maybe I'll put us on the front camera here. Um, let's see here. We'll go on the front camera. Where's the front camera at? There we go. Ooh, take a look at that. That's really nice little cute Cuban train there. Take a look at this bracelet. Take a look at this bracelet. Maybe we'll go to camera two for that. Where's camera two? Give me camera two now. Where's producer? Give me camera two. I'm talking to myself. It's okay. Boom. Take a look at that. Look at that. If you're just listening to this, shame on you. And then also, this is probably the most beautiful diamond tennis bracelet ever been made. Shout out to Mrs. Throwback. She got to my credit cards here and bought me a bunch of my own birthday presents. So this week, this Thursday, when this airs, so on the 20th, we'll be on March 20th. We'll be in Las Vegas at one of my many properties around the world. You know, the Throwback's got property all over. We'll be at one of them celebrating my 40th birthday coming up. I know you're not supposed to talk about how old you are, but I'm breaking all the rules here. I still move around a lot better than guys half my age because I work at it. And it's hard work and it's fun. So there you go. Um, Deal with that. Stuff your pipe with that. Anyway, no more music. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I gotta fire my producer. All right. So we talked about the jewelry a little bit. We're gonna talk about why I missed last week in a minute here. That's kind of the title of the show. The title of the show today is shoot jobs. We're talking about shoot jobs. Some people say,
I don't have a shoot job. This is what I do. Wrestling's my life. Don't mess with me.
and if you know, you know. That's for whoever knows. And if you don't know, too bad for you.
I don't have a shoot job.
Well, I do, and I've been having some exciting stuff happen on that front that we'll talk about here. But also, I know a lot of you guys, a lot of the boys will talk to me in different locker rooms, and they'll say stuff that I only said on the podcast. So I know you guys are listening. So please comment, share it out. What jobs do you have now? What did you used to do? Stuff like that. Just engage in general. Because I know you're listening. I know you like it because you talk to me about it. So don't be shy. Don't be bashful. So talking about shoot jobs a little bit, right? Real jobs, right? For folks that aren't involved in wrestling that are listening to this and don't know, like something in wrestling, when in wrestling jargon, wrestling parlance, shoot equals something that's real or legitimate. Uh, you know, uh, Shoot fighters are folks that could really mess you up. If you think about the UFC guys of today, it'd be a shoot fighter, as opposed to something that's worked or scripted or cooperative. That's the term. Anyway, so um, going back to when I was a kid, I'm just going to run through all my jobs real quick, and then we'll talk about what happened this week and last week. Um, my first job ever, I was 14 years old, and I worked at an electronics boutique in Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn, New York, for 2 days. Or it might have been a GameStop, or it might have been they were all in. They used to have like one on the first floor, one on the second floor, like competing video game stores when that was a thing. Before they all consolidated into GameStop, and now you can't really buy video games at GameStop. You go there to buy like Funko Pops. If you want like a Parks and Rec Funko Pop, you buy it at GameStop on clearance. It's like $9. Anyway, Funko Pops. So um, they thought I was 16 for some reason. I was only 14. I had the working papers, but I was too young for them. So I worked there for about a day and a half, and they paid me under the table, and I left. And that was my last job until I was 16. I started working at a place called Food Basics, which was a grocery store chain. I think they're Canadian, and they came down here from Canada to Brooklyn. They opened up a grocery store here, and their thing was they were doing the thing where they would charge you for bags at the time, and this was a big deal in the late '90s, early 2000s here. So if you wanted a plastic bag, a small grocery bag, it was 3 cents, and if you wanted a large, thick grocery bag, it was a dime. And then all of the boxes that the groceries came in, we would put out in the front, and then you could use those like Costco or whatever. You could just or BJ's or whatever those stores. You could just grab a box and put your stuff in the box. It's like a recycling effort if you wanted to. So I worked there until I went off to college. When I went to college, I had a bunch of jobs. You had your work study job, of course. Um, I had a work study job. I was working in the athletics department for work study job. We didn't really do a whole lot. Just kind of locked up the building at night. That was about it. Worked at a place called Stewart Shops, which was like an ice cream parlor slash convenience store for a little while. I worked there until I want to say 4th of July, or maybe it was Memorial Day. Something like that. I took the job, and I told the owner, manager, whatever, um, and they and they tried to entice you with profit sharing at the time and retirement planning. I'm like 19 years old. I don't care at that point. So anyway, I was like, hey, I'll take this job, but my in-laws, 'cause I was, I married, my first wife was a high school sweetheart. And like, hey, my in-laws are coming to visit us. So whatever this holiday weekend is, that day I can't work because they're making the drive for that. But I'll work any other day for you. And he initially agreed to that, but when the day came, he had scheduled me, and I told him, hey, we had a prior arrangement, and he told me if I didn't work, I wouldn't have a job. So I just left then. I didn't like scooping ice cream anyway. People would get mad at you because they didn't have enough money for their malt liquor. And they'd want me to like cover the difference because they were short 20 30 cents, but I was making $8 an hour, so I didn't have this 20 or 30 cents to spare. Um, that was it. Then I worked at a place called Mohawk Opportunities, which was like a halfway house for people with mental illnesses that were going back to being self sufficient or whatever. So they would lock me in there at night too. I had to stay in there overnight and make sure they didn't burn the place down or escape or whatever. Um, and that was fine for a little while. And then I joined a pyramid scheme. And, whoops, sorry, I shouldn't say that. But Primerica Financial Services was the name of it there. And they would have you recruit people so you can sell life insurance, so they can sell life insurance and annuities to your friends and family. So I would get on the bus and go to the mall and prospect people and tell them that my vice president was new in town and he had an exciting business opportunity for them, and I'd get their phone numbers and I'd call them back, pretending to be somebody else, and invite them down to an opportunity meeting where they'd sign up. And I was very good at this. I got dozens of people that I met on the bus that goes up and down Washington Street in Albany, New York, or at the mall to give me their contact information and then attend an opportunity meeting to join a business where they could be wealthy. Never occurred to any of them that, hey, I'm on the bus with you. I'm not even wealthy enough to buy a used car. Why are you listening to me? What's wrong with you? Excuse me. Let me get a little sip here. Mm, Theraflu. Anyway, I was really bad at selling the insurance though because nobody in upstate New York wanted to buy, or in Vermont because like the border's right there, wanted to buy insurance from a 19-year-old person without a car. I made that that makes sense. Trust me with your financial future. Like, fast forward now, they should listen to me now about their personal finances or really listen to Mrs. Throwback. But that's 20 years in the making. I didn't know what I was doing then or why I was doing it. Let me stop for a second here and say, I really like this hat. I hope you guys are digging this hat too. I think it's a great hat. If you can't see the hat, imagine the most fancy and beautiful hat you've ever seen, and then times it by 10. Anyway, so continuing on with the shoot jobs, you go from there, and then I moved down to Charlotte. Moved down to Charlotte. My former wife and I, we have our oldest son, original baby throwback. Um, and so I've got to work, right? Hadn't finished school yet or anything, right? Those 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 come later. I'll tell you the story about how I got started back in school again another day. That's a great story. Remind me in the comments. Anyway, um, so I get down here and I get a job at there's like a GMC and Chevrolet dealership on Independence Boulevard in Charlotte, heading towards Matthews, nearly there. So I get a job there. They have like a 3-day sales seminar with this guy is screaming at us about wearing neckties. It's very important to wear a necktie. You can't sell a car, and you can't have jewelry on. Like you can't have an ear piercing if you're a male. He called that wearing your sister's jewelry. I wouldn't buy anything from you, and having a firm handshake, and how to. He made it a point that what you should be really excited about is any opportunity that you have to sell a used car is an opportunity to take advantage of the client and make the most money possible. So you should be like a linebacker. And then he started like patting his feet, like he's about to tackle somebody in place there. And want to decleat them if they want to buy a used car. You should try to sell it for as much money as possible, which I guess is a great sales strategy. I don't know if it's a great strategy for being a human being. Didn't really like the car dealership when I got there. They would pay you $2,000 a month, but you had to sell 7 or 8 cars or something like that, and then on the eighth car on, then you would start to earn a commission on the car sales uh, that you made. And that was the thing. So I'm there. The first or second day. I don't even know if I made it 2 days. The first or second day, I'm on the car lot. The manager who's about 5'6", older guy, big pot belly, salt and pepper hair. He's yelling at me because I've got my hands in my pockets and it's making me too short to be an effective salesman. Meanwhile, I'm a half a foot taller than this guy, and it's like 35, 40 degrees outside or whatever. My hands are cold. It's early in the morning. Um, so Sprint calls me. There's a Sprint in the Whitehall area in Charlotte when Sprint used to be a company. They had a big call center that had been there for like 10 years at the time. They call me up and say I can be, I applied for a job. I don't think I really had to interview for this one, but it's like in the newspaper when newspapers were still a thing or whatever. You get I think it was like 23 grand a year or 11.01 an hour, whatever that comes out to be. 1 cent was a real incentive for me. That and I was away from that ridiculous manager on the campus there. So I go do that for a while, and then that got me into what I've done for my career, which is kind of manage call centers, customer operations, customer service, stuff like that. And I've continued to go up and 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 that across all different jobs that I'm not going to bore you with. I'm just giving you the exciting stories there. Yeah, but we got to go to a bunch of different places, and I kind of wind up um, doing this kind of work for big financial firm, House Financial, best job I've ever had in my life. Love the people there. Shout out to my boss Dustin, great guy. Um, a really cool dude, supportive of the throwback as an employee and as a person and a wrestler and a podcaster and everything else. So really good dude. Anyway, recently I get to looking for other jobs just because it's what you do to stay healthy, stay in the mix, make sure your compensation's right, all that other stuff if you're managing your career. Come across a great opportunity, apply for it, have a bunch of interviews, and this brings us up to March 7th, which is the Friday of last week. Before last week, 2 weeks ago now, whatever, before the show I missed this week. So and I'm really nervous. I've had these 5 interviews, talked to everybody in the company. Are they going to hire me? They're not going to hire me. What's going on? So I'm at a show. I'm at Action Packed Wrestling. I'm supposed to be the first match. It's going to be the Throwback versus Buggy Wright. First match. Open up the show. Hot start. Get the people excited for some wrestling, right? The first appetizer. All of the preliminary matches are appetizers. The main event's the main course. I learned that this week. Shout out George South. Anyway, so I'm there. If you guys have ever been around me with shows, I'm usually there half hour before call time, at least. Um, I'm there pretty early. Like for the action pack shows, I'm usually the first or second guy there. On the wrestling side, not counting the owner and the hot dog guy and all that other, the sound or whatever, all the support that makes the show happen too. And I get there and kind of nervous about that, but I'm like, all right, I'll put that on my mind. I'm probably not going to hear anything this weekend. I'll just focus on my match with Buggy. We'll have a good match. Buggy gets there eventually, and he's like, hey, Curtis, no big deal. Don't be alarmed. I forgot my tights. We're on first. And somebody's bringing them, though, whatever. But they might not be here before the bell. So we're trying to figure out what to do with that. That's touch and go for a minute. Maybe we'll do a thing where we'll make an announcement that I stole his stuff and we'll play it off that way or rearrange the card, whatever. I look down at my phone. What's going on? Hey, I've got good news for you. This is from the recruiter. Can you talk right now? And the national anthem's about to go on. We've been moved from first to second, so I'm doing quick math in my head. All right, yeah, sure, I can. Give me a quick call. I go outside, talk to these lady recruiter. They gave me everything that I asked for in the process there. That wow, right? That's pretty cool. So no haggling, no negotiation, which maybe I lowballed myself or whatever, but they gave me whatever I asked for. Boop boop boop. You're ready to go. So go back inside, and then we go out. We go through the curtain for the second match. Have a great match. I will tell you one thing that I hate about wrestling young guys. That chronologically young guys, not young guys in wrestling, because I'm still a young guy in wrestling. I'm only a little less than 4 years in. It, people that are in their early 20s have a reference point of 10 years ago forward for wrestling, so they call moves funny things. So at one point in the match, a camel clutch might have become a thing, but he kept calling it an accolade, which is what Rusev called it when he was in WWE, and it's really irritating me. Like, this is a camel clutch. Stop it. In my head. If you went Steiner recliner, okay, I can deal with that. But we're not going to start changing the name of stuff that's had a name for 50 years or more or whatever. Cut it out. Yeah, so that was that. So that was fun. And then what happens to me in my personal life, and you guys wouldn't know this about me unless you're close to me, and if you're close to me and listen to this, you'll know. But for the general public, um, in my everything that I'm doing, I'm pretty logical, pretty data driven, very dispassionate. Oops, sorry about that microphone. About decisions in general, unless it's about me, and then I can't get out of my own way. I can't get out of my own head, um, and I can't take good advice. I was watching a video from Ben Feingold, who's a grandmaster chess player and chess teacher. He's got a great YouTube channel. Check him out, even if you don't like chess, because it's entertaining. It's an entertaining watch. And I'm watching him, and he had a video about how to get better at chess. And when he's talking about it, and I highly recommend it. Maybe I'll try to figure out how to link it here, or whatever. But highly recommend it. And he talks about it as a life lesson, not just about how to get better at chess, but just how to get better at anything in general. The way you get better at something is you just do it. People that say, "What's the fastest way to get better?" or "I'm 12 years old and my ELO rating is 1100. Is that good or bad?" or whatever. Asking those kind of questions is where you spend your energy instead of spending your energy getting better at the thing. And then asking for advice is not generally a good idea either, unless you're talking to someone that you love and respects you, and you respect them. Most people are going to give you advice that pertains to them, doesn't pertain to you anyway. So this is great advice for life, and I wish I could have followed it in this instance. I proceeded to um, think over and over about this decision for about a week, um, and waffle on it when I really shouldn't have, because I can see everything else clearly, but I can't see um, things about me clearly, what other folks are seeing in me and what I bring to the table, even though I've been very successful at doing the types of things that I do for a long time. And I think this is imposter syndrome or something like that. Um, but something I struggle with, and I want, this part of the podcast, if you get this far and you listen to it, I want you to know, whoever you are listening to this, is that when you have those, nagging doubts in your mind and the fearfulness about things that may be new or different, and you've got to push through those things and shut them out and just try and go do it anyway. Um, Happens to me a lot in wrestling too. Like sometimes I'm afraid to jump off the middle rope, right? Let alone the top rope. They wanted me to do a little arm drag and training the other day, and everybody's like, "Yeah, you can do it. It's no problem." And it's not that far. Like it's this far off the ground or whatever. I'm holding my hands 18 inches apart if you're not watching, or 2 feet apart, and uh, no, I just eventually I just did it. After hesitating for 20 or 30 seconds, I just did it, and it was fine. I did it again. I did it again. Um, so yeah, don't do that to yourself. Don't talk yourself out of opportunities with self doubt. Just go ahead and try it. Maybe you fail, but fail quickly and go on to something else. That's okay. So when you're scared, do it anyway. And that kind of takes me up to my last thing as we update here, because we didn't get to talk last week. Last Saturday, I got to shout out to Wrestling Evolution. Thank you, Wrestling Evolution. Thank you, Tim and Tim. Thank you to the Allens for the recommendation here. So they needed a backstage interviewer for their show on March 15th. I think they called it Eyes of March. Now, I prefer to be in the ring, but if I get the help out another way, in front of the camera, behind the camera, whatever, I'll do it if I'm available. Beats sitting at home. You get some experience and you get to learn some new things. Um, I will say, as far as promos go, um, Steve Allen, Dante Khalifa, they've got an extra gear when it comes to bringing emotion to an interview. Kudos to them. Shout out to Beer City Bruiser. It's just um, a great coach in terms of, hey, let's tweak this. What if we looked at it from this angle? Try it this way. Trying to get me to loosen up because I'm pretty stiff when I'm doing the interviews. And I wanna apologize and acknowledge and give a shout out to Guy tonight. Not an easy job. Not You make it look a lot easier than it is. I've got a whole new respect for doing that particular thing that I did before. I thought it was way easier than it is. I'm sure if I do it more, I'll get better at it. Um, but it's tricky business. So that was fun. You'll see whatever happened once that. I don't know what the broadcast schedule is for that, so no spoilers here. Other than it was a lot of fun and something new for me to learn, and it was a great opportunity. Um, so yeah, I think that covers everything that we had this week. No, no shows, nowhere to see the throwback this weekend. I will be in Las Vegas until March 25th, and then I'm back in town. Like I said, I'm going to go check out my properties in Vegas, see what's going on there, um, and have a good time. We're turning 40 on Saturday. That was one fun thing. That was one fun thing from this weekend. Another fun thing too. I want to mention this. Um, just the good that wrestling can do. So we had a benefit show for a young lady that was, I believe, injured as a result of surgery mishap. It was at Ashbrook High in Gastonia, right down the road from me here. We were able to raise over $1,600 for at the show for whatever her needs were there. So that was good, and got a chance to wrestle in front of people, and it was fun for me. One, doing that and being able to share a good thing about wrestling always being bad or selfish or drama or backstabbing or whatever else, or people who's not talking to who's mad at who, who's jealous of what, all the drama that you come here for, right? Um, but it was funny. It was an old guy in the front row, and every time I bumped near him, I would tell towards the screen, "Help me, Bill Russell! Help me!" And I just couldn't. I'm glad I thought of that one. I just couldn't think of other old black guys in the heat of it. I just kept calling the Bill Russell. He was very happy when I lost, which is deserved because I was picking on him. But whatever. Yeah. So we will hopefully have a show next week. Um, as we're transitioning shoot jobs, maybe not. I've got to figure out how my recording schedule is going to go. Um, but we should have one there for your consumption. Then we'll let you know how that's going. Having a lot of fun, guys. I hope you are too. Listening to this, whatever you're doing, get out there and try stuff. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's scary, maybe it's not. Just go after it and do things while you can. The opportunities don't always come around. Take them and see what happens. Oh, I guess I can do another minute or two here. Another thought as I'm winding down here. We were talking about shoot jobs and everything else. A lot of the young guys in the business, a lot of established wrestlers, what they'll do is they'll seek out and employment that gives them maximum flexibility in order to pursue bookings because they love wrestling. Now, I like to think I love wrestling, but some of these other guys around, they really love wrestling. Wrestling is like friend with benefits for me. Um, we're gonna have a good time together, but not my main priority, right? Um, not my main priority. So I kind of get that, and then as I try to take bookings and stuff, like if it's a Friday, it's got to be close because I got to work. So, you know, that kind of cuts down my radius on Friday. If it's Sunday, it's got to be close because I got to go to work on Monday. Um, and that's the thing. If it's if it's a for Saturday, I can do like 4 hours max, 300 miles, something like that. 4 to 6. That six is probably too long once I get to leave. But like, I don't like to leave shows early. 4 hour drive one way, you're gonna have 4 hours ish at the venue if you're lucky. Probably six, right? You're gonna get there an hour or two before the show's 2 hours. You're gonna have a 30, 45 minute teardown, so five. Um, and then you got to drive back home. So the four. So if that's the thing, that turns into a 12 to 15-ish hour day. That's a long day. If I got Sunday to recover from that, that's fine. That's just my preference. Um, so I mean, that still gives you a big radius. There's so many shows in that area. So that's enough for me. I get it for the guys that are really going after it and want this to be the way that they make a living and provide for themselves and travel and explore the world. And good on them. I have a lot of respect for the folks that could be. I'm in New York on Friday, and then I'm in Durham on Saturday, and then I'm in Georgia on Sunday, and then I'm back to my day job on Monday morning. God bless you. I can't do it. Now, I probably couldn't have done it when I was younger either. It's like travel that much. So that's limited for me. But a lot of respect for those guys. But I'm also happy with what I've got going on here, where it's like, yeah, if it's within a few 100 miles, I'll hang out and do it. If it's a Friday or a Sunday, if it's closer, then I'll do it. And then it's still we're not gonna get the same notoriety or the as fast doing that, but still get to be a part of this great thing there. So that was my last thought about that. Um, it's okay to be scared. Do it anyway, whatever it is. Um, Again, big shout out to Guy tonight. Harder job than I thought. Again, thanks to Wrestle Evolution for giving me a chance to do that. Thanks to NAWA for giving me a chance to do commentary. Thanks for all the opportunities that people give me a chance to do. I love taking advantage of all of them. Hopefully, this was entertaining for you. Until next time, peace